I remember being able to go home and tell my parents, I'm going to go to college on a football scholarship and it's not going to cost you guys a dime. All you have to do is come to the game and cheer. Signing day was wonderful. I went to Hampton University in '98. I would come back from practice, man, my senior year, and I would have maybe 7 or 8 messages from different agents. They want to represent me. April 22nd, 2002, watching the NFL draft, I answered my phone and it's Marvin Lewis on the line. Marvin Lewis was the defensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins at that time. He said, "Greg Scott," he said, "Are you ready to be a Redskin?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Yeah, I am definitely ready to be a Redskin." To see that look on my mother's face that day, that look on her face, man, just to know, like, the things that my baby told me he was gonna do as a 5, 6-year-old kid. He's standing here as a 22-year-old man now, and he was focused and he was determined enough to make it happen. So it was a good day, just a real good day. I got to the NFL and I started enjoying some of the things that came with it. I got less focused on some of the things I needed to do to stay in the NFL. I found myself, I was spending a little bit less time in the film room, a little bit less time in the weight room. I was going into my second year. I got released from the Redskins. I went back to my home, just sat there quietly, maybe about 2 or 3 hours, just thinking about what was next. I felt lost. I look at my phone and I see this very different area code. It's Marvin Lewis on the phone again. And he asked me, "Greg Scott, are you ready to be a Cincinnati Bengal?" I told him, "Yes, I'm ready." I had gotten refocused. I was putting the necessary time. I honestly felt like I was trying hard every day out there. Going into the 2006 season, I made the roster. Then the second week of the season, that's when I got cut. You hand in your playbook, you pack up, and you come home. It was humbling, man. It was humbling because being this NFL defensive lineman, you feel invincible. You've been throwing people around for 4 or 5 years, but now for that not to be a part of your DNA anymore, you won't be doing that every day anymore. It just kind of felt like, who are you now? I just simply told people, hey, I got released. They decided to go in another direction. Now the next question comes, what are you gonna do now? And at that time, I didn't know. And answering those questions at that time was just, man, it was heartbreaking for me because I didn't know what was gonna be next. Pretty much for about 4 or 5 months. I stayed in a lot because I didn't want to have to deal with that type of stuff. I had times, man, where I had $250,000, $260,000 in the account. Now I was at a point in my life where I'm struggling trying to keep $200 in my account. Can't make my truck payment anymore. I get a call from a foreign phone number on my phone. I'm getting my truck repoed. So I drove out to a church right outside of 5, 10 minutes away from my mom's apartment. That truck was the last thing I had from my NFL journey. I had gotten rid of all the jewelry, cars, houses, everything. I get out the truck, and I remember looking in the car and seeing my mom's crying. I had always seen Mom cry about my achievements. So that bothered me. That, Seeing that truck drive away, I was riding back to the house. That was probably one of my lowest points I had been at because I had no money. I had a daughter, I had just a lot of empty thoughts and feelings. Felt like a has-been. I really started praying a lot more, and I started thinking like, hey man, why not go back to doing the things that you were doing every day before, Taking the issues and problems that you have to God, asking him to help you with them. So I started doing that. And the more I did that, it seemed like the more doors were starting to open for me again. I started thinking like, what can I do to talk to young kids that may have dreams, goals, ambitions of being something awesome, something no one else thinks they can do. What can I do to help them, keep them along that path, motivate them to stay attached to that dream? One thing led to another, and Cover 3 Foundation was birthed. It started out initially football camps. I started hearing about kids not being able to eat. Kids are going home hungry from school, coming back to school the next day hungry. I implement C3 kids meals, and that was awesome. We started feeding 3 schools every day, Monday through Friday, and I had a young kid tell me that. Like, Mr. Scott, if it wasn't for your program, I would leave school and go home and would have to fend for myself. And I didn't know what I would eat until I got back to school the next day. And that's what motivated me, because I'm in a position where I can do something about this, and it would be a sin for me not to. That 3 schools went to 10. 10 went to 17. 17 went to 29. 29 schools went to 40. We now feed 4,000 kids every day in after-school programs. Going to bed every night knowing that 4,000 kids are being able to eat simply off a vision, an idea that I had 5 years ago. It's a wonderful feeling. I think my faith is the main reason I'm doing what I'm doing now. Without the continually praying, the asking for guidance, I don't think I would have ever gotten to this point. Even when you think you're going through, some of the most toughest trials and tribulations, God is always present.